Well, it's a very busy weekend here. I'm preparing for a trip out west in anticipation of July the 4th. I'm going to be out west with some friends of mine to celebrate the 250th birthday of this country, America. And we decided to dress up in clothing from 1776. So, naturally, as one does, I needed to find suitable neckwear. And I have a little cravat here that was made by Ian from Royal Blue Traders. But I had another idea. I had a thought. And I went into my stash of ties and hankies, and in there is this little beautiful little bag containing something I bought years ago, extravagantly, because it's silk and cotton. And it's this silk and cotton bandana made by Acne Studios. Where is it made? In Italy. Of course it's made in Italy. It smells so nice. It smells like the store, which smells like perfume. But this feels so luxurious because there's silk in it. And I had an instinct. I just had this instinct, and maybe the instinct came from something that I've seen in a painting. I'm pretty sure that the instinct is just a recollection of a visual. And so I thought, I wonder if I can wear a bandana around my neck, and if that would be appropriate for an 18th century costume. And I did a little bit of research, and I found out some things that were fascinating, and I thought I would share them to you in the concise and not heavily researched history of the bandana. So the bandana, I'm sure everybody watching knows what a bandana is. I'm wearing one on my head. It is like a little kerchief, and I was introduced to wearing a bandana, like I knew what they were, but I was introduced to wearing one when I first met Guy Wolf, my pottery mentor. He regularly, like when he's going to start working, he takes a bandana, and so it's a square thing, and then he would fold it into a diamond shape, so corner to corner. And when you do that, it just creates the longest part of the bandana on the bias. So when something is folded on the bias, when the threads are running on the diagonal, it creates a natural stretch without elastic in the cloth. I'm going to fold this now, not on the bias. I'm going to fold it on the straight grain, like this. So that's the same length. Look, there's not that much stretch. So if I went to tie this around my head, it wouldn't stretch. But it's from the diagonal, which is called the bias, that there's great stretch. It's a little tip for you. So I saw a guy fold the bandana, put it over his head, and then tie it in place. And this was sort of the ritual. And when I like somebody, when I really like somebody, and I'm in awe of them, and I want to just be just like them, I copy what they do. So I started wearing a bandana when I was throwing pottery. And then I just got a few, and I wear them when my head is going to be really sweaty. Like if I'm washing a Persian rug in the bathtub, I'll put a bandana on because I'm just going to be dripping with sweat from my forehead, and the sweat is going to be in my eyes, and this really just prevents that from happening. So I became familiar with the bandana and never gave it much thought until just a couple days ago. And I was so fascinated to learn about the origin of this little thing. So the word bandana comes from I think it's Hindi, it's an Indian word called Bandani. And Bandani is the technique of like tie-dyeing fabric. This is an ancient practice that had been going on in India for over 1,000 years, where the cloth is very fine cloth is taken by the fingernails and pulled and twisted and then tie-dyeing, but in a very intricate way. so when Europeans were in India and they were discovering all the sorts of the different things, like all the different things, spices, jewels, all that stuff that the Indians had been consuming for thousands of years, they started taking those things back to Europe. And the Bandani cloth was taken to Europe, I think in the 17th century is when it first started being exported to Europe. But by the 18th century, it was embraced, particularly by snuff users. Snuff was a finely ground tobacco that was scented or flavored and that would be inhaled through the nose. It sounds disgusting, and it is. But it was a common practice. You'd have a snuff box, a little beautiful box, and it would have the snuff in it, and then it would be inhaled through the nose. Well, snuff users often needed to blow their nose. And this is really disgusting, when they blew their noses, their light-colored hankies would be discolored by the stuff that was coming out that was colored by the tobacco. So the Bandani cloth, these little kerchiefs of this colored Indian cloth, provided the perfect solution for a hanky that wasn't light colored, and it was patterned, so it disguised things. And this was the beginning of the bandana becoming a popular little thing. Then it was like, eventually it made its way over to the colonies, and even in the 1770s, there were cloths like, not exactly like this pattern, but there were bandanas in the United States. And over the next 200 years, this little piece of cloth has been embraced and used as a useful thing, but that is also sometimes commemorative. There's something about a bandana being specially printed to encourage George Washington during the Revolutionary War. It was like a commemorative thing. There's speculation that Martha Washington initiated the printing of that bandana. It's a beautiful little useful piece of cloth that's so iconic. I have just a few. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fancy one. So I have 5. These are my favorites. I only hang on to the things that I absolutely love. So I've culled my bandanas over the years, and this is all that remains. This blue one, this lovely green one, and then this was a recent acquisition from J. Crew, this Paisley one, and I think I got Guy Wolf one of these. I gifted one of these to him. And I love that the origin goes back to ancient India, Bandani, this tie-dye technique, and then the origin of the word Bandh, B-H-A-N-D, is a Sanskrit word which means to tie. So, little did I know when I was rummaging through my things and looking for my fancy bandana that there is something that I can wear that is appropriate for my 1776 costume. That was the affirmation I needed. But that is also a wonderful little nod to my cultural heritage. Thrilled. Love it. Bandana. Now you know how to, if you've never done it before, now you know how to fold it and tie it around your head. I'll just show you what I do. So it's folded on the diagonal. Then you flip it over your head. You tie it like this. Double knot. You lift this up, pull it taut, and tuck it back underneath the knot, like so. You can adjust this if you want little peaks. You want to put it down. Bandanas, love them.